David, good to see you. Thanks for coming on the programme. What's your take on this short-term funding deal that, at least for now, has averted the US federal government shutdown?
Well, as you say, it is an imperfect, temporary fix to what is a long-term structural problem. That is a divided Congress between a Democratic-controlled Senate and a Republican-controlled House, but also a Republican Party that is fundamentally split in its view towards how to govern. There's about a third of the Republican Party who are hell-bent on a scorched earth policy of bringing the government to a standstill unless they get their way on specific legislation. And that includes, of course, the prospect of toppling the Republican Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. And so what we're in for is, okay, a temporary respite from the prospect of a shutdown, but actually more turbulence and more threatened shutdowns to come in the year ahead before we get to the elections next in November in a year's time.
Does this mean that you and I will be sitting in the same places in a month talking about the same stuff? I mean, will we be in the same position in a matter of weeks?
It's entirely possible. I mean, it's entirely a very unstable situation whereby we don't even know whether McCarthy will be the Speaker in a few weeks' time, as you say, because Matt Gaetz is trying to unseat him. There's a huge rivalry among Republicans over the agenda, how to go forward, and as to who should be Speaker of the House. And that has the consequence of disrupting the whole basis of legislation. And unfortunately, there's a prospect of a government being shut down, so the Defence Department doesn't get paid, air traffic control workers don't get paid, large sections of the government wouldn't get paid. And of course, importantly, as a consequence of this deal, they only got a deal by actually leaving funding out for supporting Ukraine. So there was a prospect that resources flooding towards Ukraine to help them in the war effort against Vladimir Putin may be in jeopardy as a consequence of these squabbles.
How safe, would you say, is Kevin McCarthy in his job as House Speaker?
Well, it seems as if there are sections of the Republican Party who are hell-bent on having his scalp. So we have the odd situation of whereby he will only maintain his position as Speaker of the House if he has support from the Democratic Party. And of course, they're not very happy with him because he's just launched proceedings of impeachment against Joe Biden. So as a consequence of his other aspects, it's entirely unclear as to whether he will retain the support of the Democrats and the divided support of the Republicans. So it's not at all assured that he will stay in position. He's someone who's trying to deal with both sides, and he's given some red meat to both sides, but actually he's also very unpopular among the House as a whole.
David, don't book any holidays. See you again in a month. David Dunn, Professor of International Politics at the University of Birmingham.